in the United States. We expect that he will address that, among other
Yeah, here we go. This is live. It looked like he was
Good evening.
paused there for a second.
Scott from the great state of South Carolina. We just heard President Biden's first address to Congress. Our president seems like a good man. His speech was full of good words, but President Biden promised you a specific kind of leadership. He promised to unite a nation, to lower the temperature, to govern for all Americans, no matter how we voted. This was the pitch.
He's done a pretty good job.
But our nation is starving for more than empty platitudes. We need policies and progress that brings us closer together. But 3 months in, the actions of the president and his party are pulling us further and further apart. I won't waste your time with finger pointing or partisan bickering. You can get that on TV anytime you want. I want to have an honest conversation about common sense and common ground.
A Republican having an honest conversation? Get the fuck out of here.
Together. Growing up, I never dreamed I would be standing here tonight. When I was a kid, my parents divorced. My mother, my brother, and I moved in with my grandparents. 3 of us sharing 1 bedroom. I was disillusioned and angry, and I nearly failed out of school. But I was blessed. First, with a praying mama. And let me say this, to the single mothers out there who are working their tails off, working hard, trying to make the ends meet, wondering if it's worth it, you can bet it is. God bless. You're amazing.
You too can be used as a token
I was also blessed by a chick
by the GOP.
John Moniz. And finally, with a string of opportunities that are only possible here in America. This past year, I've watched COVID attack every rung of the ladder that helped me up. So many families have lost parents and grandparents too early. So many small businesses have gone under. Becoming a Christian transformed my life, but for months, too many churches were shut down. Most of all,
Oh, God.
I'm saddened that millions of kids have lost a year of learning when they could not afford to lose a single day. Locking vulnerable kids out of the classroom.
I'm sad about all the kids that have lost their lives at the hands of police officers.
Months ago. Other countries did. Private and religious schools did. Science has shown for months that schools are safe. But too often, powerful grown-ups set science aside.
I thought kids were in school.
Were left behind. The clearest case I've seen.
They keep saying that, but my friends' kids are all in school right now.
Education is the closest thing to magic.
And have been for a month or two.
Under Republican leadership, we passed 5 bipartisan COVID packages. Congress supported our schools, our hospitals, saved our economy, and funded Operation Warp Speed, delivering vaccines in record time. All 5 bills got 90 votes in the Senate. Common sense found common ground. In February, Republicans told President Biden we wanted to keep working together to finish this fight.
And then notice you guys voted against everything since then, despite the fact that everything has been overwhelmingly popular with the American people. So who exactly has been divisive, Senator Scott?
100% went to vaccinations, no requirement to reopen schools promptly. COVID brought Congress together 5 times. This administration pushed us apart. Another issue that should unite us is infrastructure. Republicans support everything you think of when you think of infrastructure. Roads, bridges, ports, airports, waterways.
I can't tell.
Broadband. We're in for all of that. But again, Democrats want a partisan wish list. They won't even build bridges.
Oh, childcare.
Less than 6% of the president's plan goes to roads and bridges. It's a liberal
They're still
government waste.
They're still trotting that out. That's been disproven.
Biggest job-killing tax hikes in a generation. Experts say when all is said and done, it would lower wages of the average American worker and shrink our economy. Tonight,
What
Also
experts?
heard about a so-called family plan, even more taxing, even more spending, to put Washington even more in the middle of your life, from the cradle to college. The beauty of the American dream is that families get to define it for themselves. We should be expanding opportunities and options for all families, not throwing money at certain issues because Democrats think they know best. Infrastructure spending that shrinks our economy is not common sense. Weakening our southern borders and creating a crisis is not compassionate. The president is also abandoning
The
principles.
only thing your state borders is a fucking ocean, dude.
Dollars should fund abortions. He's laying groundwork to pack the Supreme Court. This is not common ground. Nowhere do we need common ground more desperately than in our discussions of race. I have experienced the pain of
Tell me that wasn't the most
over
disingenuous
for no reason
shift
Followed around
you've
the
ever
store.
seen.
while I'm shopping. I remember every morning at the kitchen table, my grandfather would open the newspaper and read it, I thought. But later I realized he had never learned to read it. He just wanted to set the right example. I've also experienced a different kind of intolerance. I get called Uncle Tom and the N-word by progressives, by liberals. Just last week, a national newspaper suggested my family's poverty was actually privilege because a relative owned land generations before my time. Believe me, I know firsthand our healing is not finished. In 2015, after the shooting of Walter Scott, I wrote a bill to fund body cameras. Last year, after the deaths of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, I built an even bigger police reform proposal. But my Democratic colleagues blocked it. I extended an olive branch. I offered amendments, but Democrats used
Was it defund the police?
block the debate from even happening. My friends across
I
the
don't know what was in your bill, sir.
more than they wanted a solution. But I'm still working.
The solution is to get rid of all the cops.
When America comes together, we've made tremendous progress, but powerful forces want to pull us apart. 100 years ago, kids in classrooms were taught the color of their skin was their most important characteristic. And if they looked a certain way, they were inferior. Today, kids are being taught that the color of their skin defines them again. And if they look a certain way, they're an oppressor. From colleges to corporations to our culture, people are making money and gaining power.
I believe that's a straw
We haven't
man.
made any progress at all. By doubling down on the divisions we've worked so hard to heal. You know this stuff is wrong. Hear me clearly. America is not a racist country. It's backwards to fight discrimination with different types of discrimination. And it's wrong to try to use our painful past to
Sir, I can show you one of the most influential people
I'm an African American
in your party
my entire life. I take voting rights.
saying the exact opposite.
Republicans support making it easier to vote and harder to cheat. And so do the voters. Big majorities of
Bullshit.
Americans support early voting and big
Republicans
support voter ID.
support lying.
African Americans and Hispanics. Common sense makes common ground. But today, this conversation has collapsed. The state of Georgia passed a law that expands early voting, preserves no excuse mail-in voting, and despite what the president claimed, did not reduce election day hours. If you actually read this
Yeah,
law,
it did.
it's mainstream. It will be
No, it's not. If you actually read the law, you will find out that he's full of shit. That expanded early voting by 1 day in the
people virtue signal.
general and the primary, just so that they can say they expanded voting while slashing
have called out the White
several other things.
The president absurdly claims that this is worse than Jim Crow. What is going on here? I'll tell you, a Washington power grab. This misplaced outrage is supposed to justify Democrats' new sweeping bill that would take over elections for all 50 states. It would send public funds to political campaigns you disagree with and make the bipartisan Federal Elections Commission partisan. This is not about civil rights or our racial past. It's about
Trump made the FEC incredibly partisan.
President Obama and President Biden praised when they were senators. The same filibuster that the Democrats used to kill my police reform bill last year has not suddenly become a racist relic just because the shoe is now on the other foot. Race is not a political weapon to settle every issue the way one side wants. It's far.
But the Republicans trotted out the one black senator that they have
This administration
in order to say that. Seriously, it is so absolutely transparent.
Thanks to Operation Warp Speed and the Trump administration, our country is flooded with safe and effective vaccines. Thanks to our bipartisan work last year, job openings are rebounding. So why do we feel so divided? Anxious.
Because of Republicans.
With so much cause for hope.
Literally, because you are standing here on TV, lying your ass off on behalf of a fucking disgusting political party.
Tear us apart. The American family deserves better. And we know what better looks like.
We certainly do, sir.
We had the most inclusive economy in my lifetime, the lowest unemployment rates ever recorded for African Americans, Hispanics, and Asians, and a 70-year low nearly for women. Wages were growing faster at the bottom than at the top. The bottom 25% saw their wages go up faster than the top 25%. That happened because Republicans focused on expanding opportunity for all Americans.
I don't think that's true at
In addition
all.
to that, we passed opportunity zones, criminal justice reform, and permanent funding for historically black colleges and universities for the first time ever.
Trump had to have his arm twisted to do that. It was because they said it would help him in the election.
Moms like the one that raised me. Our best future will not come from Washington schemes.
And I mean, it was absolutely a smart move because do you know how many racist ass white crackers fucking beat me over the head with that? Funding for HBCs.
Officers and
Constantly they brought it up.
not adversaries. We are family. We are all in this together, and
Because they are the ones that use race.
the country where my grandfather in his 94 years saw his family go from cotton to Congress in one lifetime. So I am more than hopeful. I am confident that our finest hour is yet to come. Original sin is never the end of the story, not in our souls and not for our nation. The real story
Fucking religious people. God damn it.
redemption. I am standing here because my mom has prayed me through some really tough times. I believe our nation has succeeded the same way because generations of Americans in their own ways have asked for grace and God has supported.
He has talked about his religion multiple times, yes.
Song that really helped me through this past year of COVID. The music is new, but the words draw from Scripture. May the Lord bless
Oh, he's going to sing to us?
you, make his face shine upon you, and be gracious to you. May his presence go before you and behind you and beside you. In your weeping and your rejoicing, he is for you. May his favor be upon our nation.
He only cited like one fucking stat that entire speech, and I think it was bullshit.
And their children.
I'm going to report back on that tomorrow, though.
And God bless the United States of America.
That's South Carolina Senator Tim Scott delivering the
But even PBS was like, we are so ready to cut away from this.
Joint